Microcenter is the ultimate destination for everything PC gaming, and I love building new PCs. But sometimes a pre-built really is the way to go. It makes life way easier. I got all of this set up so I could start gaming right away, and that's thanks to our PowerSpec G723. And I gotta say, this is an awesome gaming PC. This has a 9800 X3D CPU, and that is paired off with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080 GPU. That is a killer combo, and we're gonna put it to the test today because we're gonna play some games. I have my 4K monitor here, and we're gonna run through a couple of different games. I have a 1440 and a 1080 monitor as well, but let's just skip these and go straight for 4K. Now, some of the other specs in this PowerSpec, you have 64 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 memory. That's paired off with 2 terabytes of SSD storage, and this has all of the I/O that you need. Obviously for wireless, you have Wi-Fi 7, you have Bluetooth 5.4. There's also some USB 4 on the back, which is actually really nice because all of the games that I run here, I'm always taking them off of this SSD. I have them backed up from my Steam library because I'm always moving them around. Sometimes moving them over the network, it is easy, but it takes kind of a long time. Unpacking it from an SSD that's backed up here through USB 4, super fast. I got all of these games installed literally in minutes. And we're gonna run through a couple of different games on this PowerSpec. Right now, I have Oblivion Remastered running in 4K, and you can see we're getting 122 frames average, 109 in the 1% lows. This is the starting area and it's indoors. I think that is gonna change once we go outside. And then we're gonna run through a couple of other games. So why don't we just dive right in? So I did a video recently where I played Elder Scrolls Oblivion on a new PC that I built. And that one was actually with a 5070 GPU, but ran it on the same monitor, same resolution, so UHD 4K, and performance is pretty good. Not as good as I would have liked though. It was definitely having a hard time outdoors. You needed DLSS, you needed frame gen to sort of do some of the heavy lifting there just to get a playable frame rate at 4K on that 5070, although it was still running pretty fine. On a 5080, my expectations are a lot higher, so I'm gonna breeze right through this opening level and just run by all of the rats and all the other things, and I'm gonna go straight outside so we can go see what it looks like. But performance is here, you know, again, in the 120s, you know, for an indoor area, rock solid. Now this is a 4K 120 hertz monitor, so 1% lows are in the 120s, so that's good. Let's get right outside. Charge right through. I feel like I've rerun this intro so many times. I have it memorized like the back of my hand. But you know what I will do? I will run there we go. I'm gonna do a full unarmed build, just fisticuffs. What did I even make? I think I made an elf. Punch my way through all my problems. Yeah, this is running rock solid, and this looks really great in 4K. And if you've been watching our content lately, you'll know I am clearly a very big fan of Elder Scrolls Oblivion, so this remake, been talking about this a lot, although we do have Doom Eternal coming out pretty soon, and I'm pretty excited about that one as well. Fireball. Take your staff. There we go. I'm just going to skip through some of this bit. Scripted event. Hello. Yes. Your aerial septum. The endurance and strength. Yeah, let's go strength. I think that helps my punching, right? All right, let's skip through all of this. Oh, I'm sorry, Uriel. I didn't mean to punch you there. All right, let's skip right through. Ahoy, bad guys. There we go. Just gonna punch all my problems away. Performance-wise, this is running great. I mean, I've talked about this game a bunch already, and you know, it's the original game, Unreal Engine 5 reskin, just right on top. So, you know, graphically, it's, you know, a bit intensive, but this 5080, I mean, it's doing just fine. Again, this is indoors. Outdoors, I think it might be a different situation, but let's see. I mean, my expectations are I think this 5080 is going to do you just fine. Everything's recording. I'm going to go through this door. Around a bunch. So I'm going to wait for the blades to catch up, and Uriel Septum is, you know, going to have a not good time. But I do want to talk about this PowerSpec G723. Now, when you get a PowerSpec at Microcenter, you do get a 1-year manufacturer's warranty, so that's going to cover everything, and you do get 48-hour repair at your local Microcenter. So you just bring it to your knowledge bar, and we can get that fixed up for you within 48 hours, which is awesome, because if anything goes wrong, we'll take care of it for you. Oh, there he goes. Now I'm going to punch you. Oh no, he's gone. Right, now we can just skip right through the sewers and go straight outside. So again, performance is there. You know, this is all indoors, but definitely FPS is in the 120s, you know, dipping around a little bit, but holding really strong. And then 1% lows, also looking rock solid. And what are we running this at again? I think I set it to Ultra. Yep, Ultra settings across the board. DLSS is on. Frame gen is off. That's totally fine by me. So let's skip right outside. There we go. All right, cool. So now the moment of truth. Let's see how it runs outdoors, because these outdoor areas, especially in these Bethesda games, that's really where you're going to see the performance kind of take a little bit of a dip depending on your configuration. Look at that. It's always just a gorgeous game. Yep, so we dipped down to the 80s, 1% lows, 40, 50, 60, jumped around a little bit. But all in all, this is looking pretty good. swim my way across and go punch some guys over here. But performance is there. I mean, this is definitely holding up a lot better than the 5070. The 5070 was doing fine at 4K, but this 5080 at 4K, this is running really, really great. And then there is frame gen in this game, so if you do want to turn that on to just boost your frame rate a little bit. But I will say, you know, this is the kind of thing with a game like this, anything over 60, I think is perfectly fine, as long as 1% lows are hanging in the 60s. But yeah. Heal myself, right? Yeah, there we go. For that, performance is there. This is looking great. And this game is just really pretty. This is absolutely fantastic, especially in 4K. All right, let's try a different game. So next up on our list will be CyberPunk 2077. So I'm going to get that loaded up. But while this is loading, I do want to talk about the aesthetic quality of the PowerSpec G723 because this is a really nice looking build. First and foremost, you have a really nice clean white look, but it has all of these blue LED accents. And you can change the color, of course, if you really want, but I really like this ice look with the AIO, with the motherboard, and this very nice looking 5080 GPU. You have your front RGB on the front fans here. This is a really good looking PC. And again, you can just walk out of microcenter same day with this exact setup and you can start gaming right away. So CyberPunk is loading up. Let's get into the screen here. And actually, I'm just gonna drop right into the game. And I have to double check the settings for the graphics, but what I did was I turned DLSS off, frame gen off. Let's see what raw raster looks like in 4K. All right. Oof. Performance is rough. 36 frame per second average, 33% lows, and again, this is 4K. So that means frame gen's off, DLSS is off, everything is set to off. And this is about as raw as it gets in terms of performance. Ray tracing is on. I mean, everything is set to basically the highest setting. So I had the custom preset, I think Ray Trace High or Ray Trace Ultra. Boy, that is rough. I mean, we're getting 36, 37 frames per second and those 1% lows. I mean, 34. So not bad. But 4K, yeah, that is pushing it. But the thing is, these GPUs, you should really take advantage of that DLSS, which I'm gonna turn that on first. I'm not gonna worry about frame gen just yet. But once you get DLSS on, already you see a big dramatic improvement. So 86 FPS average, 1% lows in the 80s. This is looking a lot better. And even our latency is looking a lot better here too. In terms of image fidelity in 4K, I mean, this looks great. This looks really, really good. And I've done a lot of demos with CyberPunk, just kind of running around Night City and, you know, kind of shooting random strangers. And you kind of get a sense of what performance is going to be like with different hardware. And I have to say, this is performing about where I expect. You know, that 9800X 3D paired with that 5080 with DLSS, which you really have to take advantage of. I mean, you're getting a really good gaming experience. Again, you have to keep in mind, this is 4K. If I took this exact same setting over to 1440, I know I'm going to get a big dramatic improvement. That step from 1440 to 4K, that is a big leap in terms of resolution. So it's really pushing out a lot of pixels. 88 frames per second, 1% lows, 70s, dipping to 65, but all in all, looking pretty good. Now, let's turn on frame gen. I'm gonna have to reset for this one. And we'll start her up one more time. Check. Frame gen is on. All right, frame gen's on. I have it set to 4x. Let's try that at 4K and let's see what we're looking like. And then I'm thinking, let's turn frame gen off and I want to look at it with DLSS on at 1440 just to compare. Because that 4K DLSS on, ultra settings, you had 80s, low 90s average FPS, big FPS jump here with frame gen on. I mean, look at that. 244, 248 frames per second average, 1% lows, 170, 160. This looks really, really good. I gotta be honest, in terms of image fidelity, once you start playing with some of these settings, it's really, really hard to notice the difference. You can start to notice the difference for sure, but I don't know, it's really good at tricking me. This looks fantastic. All right, so let me turn frame gen off. Obviously, we've played a lot with frame gen over the last few months, so we've seen what it can do. I mean, you're gonna get some really impressive FPS. So let's turn frame gen off. I'm gonna close out the game. I'm gonna set it up for 1440 because I wanna compare that 4K versus 1440. All right, so now I have a setup with the 1440 monitor and DLSS is on, so I'm not doing the raw raster again. I really wanted to push it at 4K with raw raster because you guys keep asking for it, so that's what it looks like. 4K is rough when you have DLSS off. I mean, that's just a fact. Okay, this is looking pretty good. 1440 with DLSS on, we're getting FPS average 140s, 1% lows, 89, dipped down to the 70s for a second there. But that's looking a lot better. So you can see that change in resolution, which is obvious, right? But that change in resolution going from 4K to 1440, you get a big performance boost with DLSS on because we were getting 80s average. Now I'm getting 140s, 150s average in 1440. So the monitor that you choose to pair with this PowerSpec really goes a long way. I would lean towards 1440. That's what I use at home. I actually don't use a 4K monitor for gaming. I really am happy with a 1440 monitor, especially like a 27-inch, high refresh rate, something like this. Every game that you have is gonna look stunning, and this looks great. I mean, image fidelity still across the board. You could definitely tell the difference between 4K and 1440. You can definitely tell, but all things considered, this is a really good looking gaming experience. And then of course, if you drop down to 1080, yeah, that's gonna be great frame rate across the board. I'm not even gonna bother, but you can expect really good performance there. And for the most part, I really just wanted to take a cursory glance at just a handful of games. Obviously, if you play Valorant, you play any shooters, anything like that, you're gonna see really good performance on this PowerSpec G723. And also, any other games that you're playing, 1440, I think is kind of the way to go. This can handle 4K. You can play 4K, no issue. You really gotta tweak those settings. Really depends on the game, really depends on what's going on. But 4K, absolutely possible with this PowerSpec G723. So remember to stop by your local microcenter to get your hands on this PowerSpec G723, or check out our wide selection of different PowerSpec pre-builds because they're pretty awesome. And if you don't have a microcenter near you, then be sure to comment #I want a microcenter near me.